Hey, what's up everyone? We're going to be talking about all the different things we can do as a solo player after we've completed the tutorial. Maybe we've done some lethal content, some myths, we don't really know what to do, what's a road of Avalon, all that good stuff. I'm going to try to be quick about it. We have a ton of different content that you can do, a little taste for everyone. We're going to have some skips or some time links in the bottom. You can just scroll down and skip around in the video, see whatever form of content you're curious about. Maybe you just want to know a specific thing. Awesome. Feel free to skip around. We're going to be doing some PvP and just talking about all the different things we can do to bridge that gap from completing the tutorial to participating in full loop PvP or ZVZ, things like that. It can be really difficult to kind of understand that going from a yellow or blue zone into the black zone, red zone, mists even in full loop mists. And so I want to show off all the content you can do. First off, I think that I would just enjoy the content. Go out there, try it out, not too big of sets, figure out what you like and enjoy and do all of that. But we're going to be covering the roads, the depths, everything in the Antiquarian's Den, the black zone, the red zone. It'll all be in those time links down below. But thank you guys so much and enjoy. All right, everyone. So our first form of content is going to be faction warfare. We're going to quickly talk about faction warfare just in general before we get into our kind of role as a solo player in the whole system. So faction warfare is done on the Royal Continent, so the blue, red, yellow zone area. And if we go to political view, I think we can see faction warfare. We can see all the different cities own land or areas in the zones, with Caerleon being in the middle of this war. So what happens is there's these little outposts in a zone, and I'm going to hop out into one. You guys should be able to see all of this. And you're basically fighting for control of areas. There's these camps that you can do. There's treasure chests specifically to faction flagged members, as well as we have the faction warfare commander, which these are in every city. You can find yours. They're just on the minimap. They look like a little icon for your city. So ours is the Bridgewatch icon, and they give us items based on points. These points are earned through killing players, defending zones, participating in the bandit assault, which you'll see pop up on your screen every now and then. And that's basically where every little encampment out in the black zone gets flipped to being owned by Caerleon, which is a big opportunity to earn a bunch of points because you can recapture all those zones. Here's all the rewards you can buy. You rack up points pretty quickly. Depending on if you're a higher rank, you can get more points, yada, yada, yada. That's pretty much all you have to know. Now, as a solo player, I come over here, I faction flag. If it's during the bandit assault, there's going to be a ton of people out in these zones, and you can just look for a group and follow them. This is if you just want to be a solo player and get that first taste of ZVZ or small group fighting. This is my favorite option right now. I've never been in a big guild really. I don't enjoy being in a big guild, but I do like every now and then a good taste of PvP. I'm in usually sets like this because I'm just getting into random groups. I like to heal to try to help out. I'm not so much worried about snatching all the loot off the bodies. I just like to heal, sit in the back. There's sometimes you're going to die. There's going to be big groups. So I wouldn't risk much more than this if you're not super comfortable with the faction warfare system or any of the large group scale PvP systems in general. But we can faction flag up. And if our base average IP, this number right here, is above 700, we can use the transport. I believe it actually needs to be above 700 to flag at all, but this will take us to some of the conflicting lines or the battle status between areas, and this is where you'll find a lot of other players doing faction warfare. Now, we can get faction points through anything, killing mobs, gathering. So if you're out in the red zone, the yellow zone, the blue zone even, being faction flagged is like a little bit of bonus points, as well as this little buff here, which is going to be a plus 10% from being on the offense or out in the zones that are close to the war. Now, during bandit assault, we have a little timer up here, and it mainly means there's just a lot more people out here doing stuff, which is awesome. I would just say invite. People will invite you to a group. They're clearing these camps. They're clearing the smaller camps. They're pushing around. But even right now, I bet I could find a group of a couple guys doing some of these camps to hang out with. The only threat is not only are you hostile towards flagged players, so the regular combat flag players, but enemies that are flagged for any other faction will be able to attack you, but they don't interact with non-flagged players. So if we're not flagged for a faction, we're totally good. But the red zone, non-faction flag, is a lot similar in almost every single way to the black zone, where we have entrances to most content, mist, solo dungeon, the solo encampments, we have roads, we have every entrance, we have good gathering. The only thing that we do not have that the black zone does is the better fame and silver rates, as well as we don't have access to any tier 8 zones on the Royal Continent, or any tier 8 red zones. The highest we can get is a tier 7 zone, which I'm in one right now. Faction Warfare is really awesome. I'll have some clips playing right here of me in some big battles healing or playing Bloodletter, grabbing some loot, but it is a really, really good introduction to just getting a general idea of what group content looks like. It's very unique in Albion with the claps or the big bangs or the big booms. I don't even know what word to describe it. Just the pulling a lot of people in, hitting them hard. It's really awesome, and I think that Faction Warfare is such a great introduction into that, and you don't need to risk a lot, and you can get a good feel for all of that. We want to spend our faction points, and we have a little thing up here, Faction Warfare. And this will show our daily reward, which gives us more standing, and then over the week we can earn these chests, and then we can get our current point value here, and then at the end of the week we get a percentage, if we have premium, of our bonus faction points. So I get 50% of my faction points that I earn through the week as a bonus at the end, which gives me a lot of chests if I'm actively participating throughout the week. But I think right now, for a solo player, if you're in the Royal Continent, being faction flagged is such a good way to get into that type of content, group content, small group content. Even just being a solo player, you're earning some extra side rewards, which always feels awesome. All right, everyone, so now we're in the mist, and as we see, the different things I can do are as follows. We actually have all of them kind of on screen right now, besides Nightfall Abbey. So I have a Turbulent Mist. This is going to be a little wisp that comes out that I have to escort on foot. It's going to prevent me from going invisible or mounting unless I drop it, or if I go invisible, it drops automatically. We have 2 small camps. There's sometimes large camps, which give a bigger chest. And then we have a little resource gathering node as well that just has a little bit more of a concentration of that resource, as well as an unstable road. We have a Claymore man here waiting for the little wispy poo. I'm running the usual, see if he wants to fight. I don't know if he will. I will overcharge if he does, but maybe we'll get a good PvP interaction here, which is a lot of the allure of 1v1 mists as well, is that there's no way for there to be more people than one. Sometimes you will get ratted and that feels terrible, but typically you're going to get good 1v1 fights, which is just great. If you're in a build where you're really good at fighting 1v1 and you just want to fight, the mists are a great place to be. And we have a lot of different options of content to do, ranging from PvE to the more PvP focused camps, mists, and chests. We have enchanted mobs, just like out in the world, throughout the wisp or the mist, and those are all very good. I think now that it's epic, this dude will probably want to fight me, but we want to keep kind of a goal-orientated mindset of, hey, I'm looking to do these things. If someone happens to come along and I have to fight them, that's great too. I think I'm going to try to take this wisp to the small treasure chest. I don't really see a way this dude doesn't fight me for the epic wisp. I think that'd be kind of crazy, but maybe he won't, and we'll... Oh, he's dismounted. So we are going to be fighting. Very cool. Opening up the flame artillery just to get his mount away, as well as some damage onto him. He should come back into me. Meatball. That chud got rolled, as some would say. Now we're being profitable, fellas. What are we doing? 520k in the 114k set? That's profit right there. But we will go. I'm taking the wisp, not to its actual destination, which is the little arrow into the hole over there with the wisp, but to the small treasure chest, just because sometimes gatherers are in here, or a lot of times gatherers are in here, and they will look to get the treasure chests or the wisps that no one's at with their high mobility builds. So I want to try to secure both objectives at once, which is definitely riskier, right? I run the chance of seeing another player at this treasure chest, but I'm willing to take that risk. And that kind of wraps up, besides Nightfall Abbey, which we'll get into next, everything that you can do in a wisp, right? We'll see what this chest has to offer, but there's also coffers scattered about in various other events. In the higher level wisps, or the rarity wisps, which can be green, blue, or purple and legendary, there is the chance for a mythical beast, I believe is what they're called, legendary beasts, some people call them, but they give you crafting components to the face scale gear, the Duskweaver gear, and the Mistwalker gear as well. All right, everyone. So we made it to the Weakened Wisp Sanctuary. We're going to turn this in. This is not only going to give us a big chunk of fame, but favor as well, which I can keep track of in my Conqueror's Challenge, which is down here. This can be used to purchase chests, siphon energy, and a few other things from the vendor and main cities. But also, if we hadn't completed our weekly reward, we can get closer to our Grand Conqueror's chest, as well as filling out our season reward track there. Now, the last thing that we're missing or really haven't seen is a Nightfall Abbey. And Nightfall Abbeys are little portals that you'll find in here. I saw one a little bit earlier, so I think I can show that clip here. And in there, we'll get into next, we will talk about everything that can go down in a Nightfall Abbey. Alright, everyone, so we found the Nightfall Abbey. Here is the little icon for it on the map, as we can see. It's going to be a portal that looks just like this. I'm just going to click on the middle. It's going to take me to another layer from the mist, kind of like a Russian nesting doll. We're getting deeper into here. But Nightfall Abbey is really cool. It's one of the best fame per hour places. It is awesome. So going over the map really quickly, all of these little doorways are going to be exits. Every little room here is going to be a small PvE interaction, right? They have a chance to have bosses. They have a chance to have bosses as well as mobs. So when we clear these, we mainly are going to get buffs from these little altars, but we have a chance to get chests as well, with some pretty awesome loot, I would say, in here as well. Usually 4 to 5 minutes into the Abbey, you are going to see a chest spawn on the map with a 5-minute timer, and that is going to be usually where the PvP is in here. Since it's so big, I would say I don't typically see too much PvP. The buffs that we get out of here vary as well. The one that I just got gains max health and current health, and is kind of just like a gig. Every stack or every other buff I get gives me Nightly Grace, which buffs the buff, as well as gives me some flat stat increases. Very cool. The buffs are the Rose, which heals you when you get low, and then the Hourglass? No, it's not an hourglass. It is the yellow one, and that one is going to give you a movement speed plus damage buff when you get low. So I would say if you're looking to fight, it's important to have that buff up, as they are very powerful, but also to be completing PvP to get your Nightly Grace buff up as well. I will see if I can find a chest, and we will be cutting to that, so I can show you guys just what some of the loot looks like in here. Oh wow, we didn't even have to leave that room, and I got a chest here. This is blue, just like regular. They can range from green to legendary, and a little bit underwhelming. I would say they typically are a bit better than that, but that kind of covers everything that you can do in Nightfall Abbey. I'd say the fame's great. It's a great place to be. Okay, everyone, so now we are out in the Black Zone. I am just one zone away from Bridgewatch, which is the city I play out of. We have a lot of different things we can do. As we can see, there's a chest in 5 minutes up here in the Tier 7 zone. As we talk about everything, we'll make our way over there, and maybe we'll be done talking in 5 minutes, so we can fight for that. But the Black Zone offers the best fame and silver rewards in the entire game. Now, that depends on the quality up here, which if you open your minimap, you can see, and that varies, and we can see that the modifiers are affected by that quality, right? You'll only see Gathering Fame affected by quality 1, but as that goes up, it'll change. We can use our world map to see zone quality, but it typically goes by the closer or the closer to the middle of the map, or the further away you are from the main city portal zones, the higher quality a zone will be. Typically the tier 8 zones are surrounded by not tier 8 zones. They're not so much clustered, they're kind of scattered about here. Other options for the Black Zone is we have all of the gathering that we would have anywhere else. We have tracking, and we found a layer map. This is something that the Black Zone, or all zones really have, but since we're in the Black Zone with the higher silver and fame rates, they can be really beneficial. So what we do is we kill all the monsters around it. If you just click on it, it'll aggro all the monsters that you would need to kill to get it, but I think it should just be all those 4 guys. It opens up, I claim it, very close, very good. I'm able to just run over, and it's just going to be a single boss in there. We will do this quickly. Ooh, we have a coffer as well. So coffers can be out in the Black Zone. We have a guy just on a horse. I think he's gonna get it from me. Yeah, he's looting it from his mount, I believe. But I'll double check, see if he left any scraps for me. Oh, don't think he got to anything, unless maybe he got it quickly. But we can see coffers littered about. They sometimes have a timer of how long they're going to open, and they can only be seen when you're close to them as well. And that goes for all coffers. We have solo dungeons, boss layers, myths appear as well. A ton of different entrances to the other forms of content in the game through the Black Zone. Now, we are just going to have one boss in here in a chest, so this is very good. Solo dungeons, however, I do not think are in a good enough place to warrant doing currently. They are very safe, as you can stand in the beginning until the entrance closes. So if you are like, man, I do not want to die in the Black Zone, but I want to start doing content out in the Black Zone, solo dungeons are a very good option. However, anything past that beginner level to entry, I just do not think they are worth doing currently. Other things to worry about in the Black Zone is since there's no form of people being reduced. So right in solo myths, we see that you can only go in as one person. In duo myths, you can only go in as two. Roads have charges on the entries. We can see a lot of larger groups, especially closer to the portal zone. There's something called the safe portal, which will be popped up right here. And that is a little thing you can click on, or I will click on, and it will be a one-time cost of some silver, and it'll port me randomly out into the zone that is connected to the zone or the city that I'm portaling from. This is very good because only one person can take it, and I find that further in the Black Zone, I get better fights with one-on-one, and also those larger groups aren't roaming around as much. Now, we are in this zone here. We have a medium treasure chest in a minute 30. Medium treasure chest is typically small groups. Most chests are, but usually small treasure chests you can find in zones where there's only 1 or 2 people at, and it's usually a good fight. This medium chest, especially at 6 to 15, I would expect there to be maybe 4 to 5 people here in a group, maybe 2 groups. We will see how it goes down here. What do we have? 4 guys with a healer, or 3 guys? I'll band together. Now this is beautiful, right? The banding together of men versus a healer. No one likes a healer. But this is rare in Albion, I will add. Partying up with people used to be much more dangerous. You used to not be able to, I think he dismounts someone, eh? Oh no. Oh, yeah, he does. I really don't want to force this fight, but I will back up my boys, no doubt. 33 seconds on the chest, I'm going to head back. You used to be able to just kick people from the party and instantly be able to attack them. I have a funny little betrayal video on the channel. I was playing with guys for a few hours, I got low, they kicked me. So, I got away with the loot. I mean, I haven't gotten away yet, I should add. But I'm going to make it to this exit, which will give me a shield. I'm actually just going to mount all the way up now. Make it away. We got a nice treasure chest. We had some nice effort from the team there. That was great. But that kind of covers everything we can do in the Black Zone. Once again, we have a lot of entrances to other forms of content. This is where a lot of gathering is done, as we have access to tier 8 zones, as well as solo myths, and the encampments are the main allure of the Black Zone for a solo player outside of going into other forms of content. But they are heavily group dominated. You need to be a little bit worried about that, or being ganked in general. If we don't want to be ganked, we want to avoid being scouted by people in bear paws, incubus mace, or claws, I would say are my top 3 to look out for. If someone sees you doing an encampment, especially, we don't want to be caught with our pants down or at low HP, so keep your horse nearby, get on your horse, get out of there, do camps deeper into the Black Zone, and just always be careful. Form of content that I think is really important is everything that goes on in the Antiquarian's Den. If you guys don't know how to get here, we just go right over here. It's a little crack in the wall in all of your cities, and it gives us access to what used to be content you'd have to go find out in the Black Zone. For Bridge Watch, it's just right next to where you would go to the portal. I turn left, I go in this little crack in the wall. It's going to give me access to corrupted dungeons at any level. It's going to give me access to hell gates, both lethal and non-lethal, both 2v2 and 5v5. But the most important thing is the depths. I think the depths are really awesome. Going to show some clips of me playing. The depths is 3 levels of increasingly higher tiers, going 6 to 7 to 8 at the final tier, with a big chest being at the bottom. It has chests, it has coffers, it has these little altars that you can turn souls into for chests. It's an awesome area. I think it is good to learn how to play your character, but it is very far off from what actual PvP is in Albion. I think if you play too much depths, you're going to end up like the rich kid who doesn't know the price of paper towels. I think it's awesome for learning how to play your character, but it is its own monster for sure, but is a great introduction. You will lose all of the gear in your inventory, but not the gear equipped, which allows it to be very easy to just repeatedly play, learn your character. Is an awesome place to go. Corrupted dungeons are going to be 1v1 instance dungeons. We can choose to be non-lethal, lethal, or the slayers are the like higher up. So that requires tier 8 gear. The stalkers requires about tier 6, 5-1. Hunters require about 700 gear, so tier 5-1, tier 6 will let you in there. You kill some monsters. It's like a 1v1, but you're in a dungeon with other monsters and traps. It's one of my favorite pieces of content. It's awesome. Hellgates, teams go in there, 2v2, 5v5. Duke it out, kind of same thing, but all the mobs clear, so there's not really any dungeons, you're just in an area fighting. But overall, I'd say all the things in the Antiquarian's Den are definitely worth doing. I would try them out at non-lethal, understand the content before you move into lethal. They are all very awesome. So we find ourselves in the roads. These are all these portals that you see. They have charges on them. So these can be from any zone. They can be from a blue zone into a road. And then once you're in the roads, they can even lead to other areas. Every now and then they change places. We can see all the information if I mouse over, how long it has until it closes, how many charges are left on it, indicated by the 5 out of 7. And then the +7 is telling me how long until another charge is available. As a solo player, we need to be a little bit weary in roads. I would say they're pretty much dominated by small groups, but there's absolutely a place for us here, and that's going to be these little green treasure chests for fame farming, as well as a lot of resources here, just like most of the other zones. Now, these green chests have varying tiers. Depending on the boss that is in the chest area, which once we get over to there, it'll make a little bit more sense, the mobs, as well as the loot and fame, are all going to scale up. Now, that will go from the 3 chuds, which is the Avalonian Spearman, the Avalonian Monk, and then the Avalonian guy holding a crozier. He shoots mist. I forget his name, but they'll all be up on screen. These are the lowest tier of mob. Then we have 2, which are equal, and they are going to be the Avalonian Wizard Lady and then the dude with the 2 hammers. And they will both be... Hang on. Alright, so there was 2 dudes in there. They were doing the Avalonian Knight, which is higher than the 2, the lady and the dude with the hammers. It is the 1 tier above that for both the blue and the green. The blue dungeons are typically small groups, so 2 to 5, I would say. You can solo them for sure if you're a real baller, but not really what you want to be doing as a solo player. It's kind of like a gimmicky thing, right? I don't see many people just consistently doing it, especially since the Shadow Caller nerf. It just isn't there anymore. But we want to make sure we're paying attention because, like Avanites, their chests are very big, and there'll be a chest opening on screen right now. I got this actually earlier today, and it had a 7-3 Hunter Hood in it, which was absolutely awesome. The loot's great, the fame's great. Just need to be wary about being gankers. It's about not being gankers, about being ganked, because of our location being kind of on the map, and people are usually like running by the chests and looking at them. Just be careful, have your mount close like usual, but the gankers in here are honestly pretty locked in, I would say. So just be extra aware and weary of people even just blindly running into those camps invisible for you. It can be really difficult in that way, but it's a great form of content for both fame and loot. Woo! And that wraps up a whole lot of content. That's a lot of the stuff I do, and everything I do when I'm solo is included in there. And if you have any questions about anything I didn't cover, feel free to just let me know in the comments. I have in-game mail turned on as well, or my whispers. I'm usually checking my whispers, but sometimes people are calling me very mean names. I can't have it open, but I'm usually checking it and I'll respond to you guys. But thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out so much, and I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.